What up, YouTube? This is Steven, and welcome back. Alright, so in this video, I want to give my requested opinion of YouTube user China Fox. And, this was, my opinion was requested by a YouTube user who goes by the name of B Money. So, shout out to you, B Money, for requesting, I guess, more or less my opinion of YouTube user China Fox. It's kind of a little odd and a little weird for me for a couple of reasons. Just for one, I just didn't think that anyone would be interested in my opinion. So thanks for being interested in my opinion. And two, sometimes I kind of feel like, am I being set up here? I don't know. When people kind of ask me my opinion of another person or another YouTube user. But I assume there's no setup. And it's just, wanting to know. So thanks a lot for wanting to know, B Money. And also, before I get into this video, I also want to give, all the YouTube users who participated in, the live streams, a quick shout out, as well, and specifically for you, B Money. Definitely thank you very much for the information that you provided me and other YouTube users in the live stream that you participated in. I definitely wrote that information down. I'm still, going through and trying to learn a bit more about that information. But I did check out the Codec Academy website, and I actually signed up for it and went through the very first lesson about HTML and CSS. But pretty much the first lesson is about HTML only, pretty much. But yeah, I went through that, and I'm like, oh wow, this website is pretty user friendly. I didn't know about this website. So thanks a lot for providing, that information, and as well, thanks for providing your feedback to multiple videos that I've posted. I appreciate your feedback. I sometimes don't agree with your feedback, but that's cool. It's hey, but that's what makes things interesting, and that's what kind of to an extent helps you kind of learn about other sides of the coin, so to speak. So overall, thank you very much for the information you provided us, and thanks for wanting my opinion, and thanks for providing your opinion. Your viewpoint is very, it's something that I value. It's something that is needed too. You have a very specific viewpoint that not everyone can give, right? So thanks. All right, so let's get into this. China Fox. All right, so folks, we're bringing up China Fox, right? So I'm like, okay, let me check her out, see what she's about, right? So I check her out. Okay, so she's like, a light skin. She's not mixed. She said that she's not mixed, as in having a white parent and a black parent, or a non-black parent and a black parent. I think both of her parents identify as black. I'm like, okay, all right. And I noticed in the videos that I've watched of hers, she does tend to be a little. I was warned about this, but yeah, she does tend to be, very, I guess, passionate to the point that it can come off as crazy. Very, strong in her opinion, and it does kind of come off as like funny and comedic. I don't think it's meant to, but sometimes when you're watching it, it does come off as like, like it's very like unintentionally funny. But I do, from the videos that I've watched of hers, I do agree with her message. I do think that she, based on what I've seen of her, I do think as far as colorism is concerned, she is definitely an ally for, darker skinned folks, especially darker skinned women. She's willing to call out things, as well as even call out herself at times, right? And as well as far as like racism is concerned, I think she's definitely on the, hitting the mark really well. What else I can say? She's not an advocate of swirling, Although I think she has swirled, and she has a video about that. I haven't watched it though. Um, but I think she uses that experience from what I've heard as like reasons not to swirl, right? Um, as far as my personal opinion about swirling, I've mentioned it pretty much several times before. um, let's see what else. Um, she's also called out black men, especially dark skinned black men, right? In the foolishness and buffoonery and fuckery that they kind of participate in. And lately, I saw her also call out Amber Rose too. So it seemed like Chyna Fox is on the right path, and I think she did recently a hangout with Cynthia G. I tried to tune into it, but there was some type of an issue going on where like the video was playing, but I couldn't hear. I wasn't sure if the problem was on my end or their end. But yeah, I tried to tune into that. I guess I'll try and watch the playback at some point or another. So she seemed like she's linking up with like-minded folk, right? So that's cool. That's good. um, let's see. Sometimes I don't think this is intentional on her part. Perhaps, maybe slightly, but sometimes when she's discussing colorism, sometimes it can kind of sometimes come off as like low-key bragging a little bit, as far as like, oh, us light-skinned women are like, put on a pedestal, that type of a thing, like it can come. I don't think it's intentional, at least not consciously intentional. It could be like subconsciously intentional, but I kind of noticed that a little bit. I kind of, for the moment, from what I've seen, like perhaps just giving her the benefit of the doubt, since she seems like she's on point with other things, and that's something that I kind of keep in mind myself when I'm doing these type of videos. I try when I talk about colorism and light skin privilege to kind of talk about it in a way and present it in a way and be very careful in my wording so it doesn't come off as if I'm like kind of like low-key bragging, like about the the privileges or the advantages that I may receive because of light skin privilege, right? As well, just in case you guys may be interested, I did a video a little while ago about the things I like about being light skinned and things I dislike about being light skinned. 10 things on both aspects, right? 10 things I dislike and 10 things I like as well. Where I kind of explore even and as well even check my own privilege and check myself and some of the things in my thought processes, right? But yeah, I guess I can pretty much keep this video short and to the point. I don't really feel the need to go on for too long. I also saw a video she did about calling out YouTube user Rubia Garcia, and she was kind of like calling out black men in that video for calling her Rubia Garcia white bae, because she's like regurgitating some things or talking points that other black women, especially dark-skinned black women, have mentioned a lot of times. And I'm like, okay, yeah, and she going crazy in the video, right? And she brought up some good points. I'm like, yeah, there's some good points. I can't really argue against that, right? So overall, from what I've seen of Chyna Fox, she seemed like she's, got her stuff together, right? It seemed like she's on the right path. She's on the right side of the issue, right? And overall, she is somebody that I'll definitely be kind of like watching her videos to see what she has to say about certain issues, because she does seem to have like a to present, like she seems to present like really interesting viewpoints from what I've seen. A little crazy, right? A little crazy, but that's how you like them, right? B Money, that's how you like them. Crazy light skinned chicks. But hey, we all got it. You know, we all like something. You can't be mad at you for that. Oh yeah, crazy pro-black light-skinned chick, right? You know, even better, right? Um, but you know, I joke. Truth and jest, but I joke. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much my opinion. You know, thanks for letting me know about this YouTube user. I'll be, you know, definitely watching in the future and watching what she has to say about things. So, you know, thanks a lot for asking about it. And again, thanks a lot for the information you provided in that live stream. It's very appreciated, and also very helpful too, you know. So thanks a lot for watching, you guys. Feel free to comment, feel free to subscribe, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Your feedback and support are extremely appreciated and extremely valued. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.